Hi, this is the last video in a series of videos we have done on how companies are shifting the way they are tackling climate change. The sixth and final shift is a shift from corporate social responsibility to climate justice. I've got to be honest, it's very early days for this shift, but we as consumers have a lot of power to accelerate it. Corporate social responsibility, or CSR for short, has typically abided by a simple motto: think global, act local. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that company sustainability work has largely focused on issues that happen in their backyard. This is quite logical. As a company tries to improve its reputation, it focuses on doing work in those communities in which it operates. And doing so may appease regulators or increase the pool of potential job applicants. And these beneficial side effects are really what makes CSR strategic, because it actually helps the company. But if we are to take climate crisis and the ongoing biodiversity collapse seriously, it's essential companies direct financial scarce resources to those areas where the impact they can generate is maximized. The shift towards climate justice invites companies to abandon their preference for doing things locally in favor of doing things where they make the biggest difference. Say a company from Belgium, my home country, is interested in supporting reforestation. A CSR approach would suggest it should do so in Belgium, ideally in the vicinity of its existing facilities, so that it benefits its employees and boosts its reputation locally with regulators and consumers. That kind of makes sense. But a climate justice approach, however, would argue that reforestation is best done in those areas where it creates the biggest social and environmental benefits. So, for instance, where the trees will absorb more carbon and where the largest impact of biodiversity will occur. So this approach would favor investing in the Amazonian rainforest, or mangrove restoration in Indonesia or Myanmar, or the conservation and expansion of some of Africa's wilderness. Simply because the impact per dollar spent in those regions is vastly superior. Hence, if consumers and governments start abandoning their preference for companies to act locally, companies will start solving the biggest problems first. Regeneration favors investment in the global south, and that includes Africa, South America, and parts of Asia. Doing so creates significant wealth transfers to those countries most at risk of climate change. It improves at once climate adaptation, which is the ability of people to cope with the adverse effects of climate change, as well as climate mitigation, which is the ability of ecosystems to reduce the speed and severity of climate change effects. And it creates much bigger social benefits by fostering employment and supporting sustainable livelihoods. This is the essence of climate justice, and it's the approach that Handprint is advocating for. I'm Simon, and if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to our channel.
Visit handprint.tech to learn more.